Okay, so we're in the Mod 12 lab talking about setting up a DHCP service for our network. And on the screen here, we've got four different subnets. R&D, which is dot 1, sales, which is dot 2, management, which is dot 3, and the DMZ, where the DHCP server is, that's going to be a dot 4 subnet. Now, we want to connect wires to these. And up until now, we've been using mostly twisted pair or copper straight through. So if I select that, it says copper straight through. And going from a device like a PC to the switch using a twisted pair is fine. It's not a big deal. But remember, we got 100 different hosts on this particular subnet, all connecting into the switch. So going from the host to the switch on twisted pair copper, not a problem. But going from the switch to the router with 100 hosts of traffic, that's a lot of throughput. That's a lot of data going through. So we probably would want to use a fiber optic cable. So if we go down to our cables here again, this kind of yellow one right here says fiber. So that means fiber optic. And as we know, fiber optic handles more throughput and a faster speed. So here's what I want to point out. If I go into the switch and I'm looking at the physical mode here, if you look at these ports, you can see these four ports are set up for Ethernet or twisted pair. Where these two ports, they look a little bit different. That is the port for the fiber. So down here, this PT1FFE, that is a fiber port. So that's port 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if I go to configure, 1, 2, 3, 4, these last two, which are port 5 and 6, or here, port 4 and port 5, because remember it starts with a 0, right? These are going to be the fiber optic ports. Let's look at the router. Again, we've got 4 subnets coming into this router. So we're going to have 4 fiber optic cables going into the router. So if I go here again to the physical, I can see I have 2 Ethernet ports, 2 serial ports, and 2 fiber optic ports. And we need 4 fiber ports. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click on this button here to power down the router. So you got to turn the router off first. Then I'm going to click and drag these serial ports out. And I'm going to replace them with the fiber ports. So I'm going to take these 2 fiber ports and slide them in. Then we're going to turn the device back on. Turn the router back on. Did I turn back on and see it? There you go. There's the green. Look for the little green there. It takes a moment. If you try to click over too fast, it'll say the router is still booting. So you just got to wait a second. And again, if you come down and click this double arrow here, this is kind of a fast forward. It moves the setup and the communication along faster, so you don't have to wait quite as long. So it should be done now. And if I go over to configure, right, well, if you look at physical, the first 2 are going to be Ethernet, and the other 4 will be for fiber. So, and so these first 2 are Ethernet, these 4 are fiber. So let's go ahead and then set that up. We're going to go from the PC to the switch using copper. So I'm going to go down, click my copper straight through. I'm going to do fast Ethernet 0. And here I'm going to use fast Ethernet 0. You can see the icon. Looks like a Ethernet port. Then I'm going to go and choose my fiber. Go back to the switch, and I have to come down here to the fast Ethernet with the fiber icon, 4/1, and I'll go to the router. Now, if I try to put this in the wrong port, say this 00, this fast Ethernet port, it'll say, well, you can't do that. That's the wrong cable with the wrong port. So you come back here, and now I'm going to choose fast Ethernet 4/0. Okay, so now I've made that connection. I am going to label this 4/0, so I know that this port was 4/0 was the port for the R&D. And we're going to do that with the other three subnets. So copper going from fast Ethernet to switches fast Ethernet, and then fiber from fiber to, in this case, 5/0. I'm going to label that 5/0, so I'm not confused on what port that is coming out of, right? Now for the management, we go to the copper. And you can fast forward the video here. You should have done this lots of times. But just don't forget to switch over to the cable, to the fiber, when you're going from the switch. Oops, I did the wrong one. See? When you're going, so 4/1, 2 up here, 3/0. So make sure you do cable, and I'm going to label that 3/0, so we're not confused. And then finally, this last one, copper from the server to the switch, and fiber from the switch to the router. Okay, very good. All right, we're off to a good start. Let me pause for a second. Okay, so next we're going to do is we're going to create static connections here. So I've put this IP address here for a static address for this one PC that represents all 100 hosts. So instead of coming up with 100 PC icons, we're just going to use one. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do the config, the setting, right? The default gateway. Since we know this is a .1 subnet, will be 192.168.1.1 because this is the .1 host or subnet, and then .1 is for the default gateway. For the DNS server, so that's going to be this server over here. That's going to be 192.168.4, subnet 4.254. Because if you recall, this is the last available or usable address typically is the server. The last address, 255, would be broadcast, right? So 254 is the last usable, so that's going to be this one, okay? So we've got that, and then here for this static IP address on PC 0 here, I'm going to put in 192.168.1.10, right? And the subnet mask, because this is a Class C IP address, is 255.255.255.0, telling us we have up to 255 different IP addresses here, right? Make sure the port is turned on, and now we've got that first PC, static IP address. If we come up here and we're saying, hey, 04 is the IP address or is the port number for this port for this subnet, I can put the subnet IP, the default address in 192.168.1.1, and the subnet mask would be the same. There you go. All right. So that's 04. Now, if we did it correctly, and we'll hit fast forward here, we're going to see if I can ping. So I'm going to go to desktop and command prompt, and I'm going to see if I can ping 192.168.1.1. And it might take a second. The first time you ping something, it might take a little second to kind of figure it out or find it. But it looks like that's not working for us. So I'm going to pause here, figure out kind of what we need to adjust, and then we'll move on. Come back and fix it. Okay, so found my mistake here. In the router, let me come back here. So we're going in the router, right, under configuration, port 40, I did not turn it on. So I got to turn it on. And while we're here, let's go ahead and just turn it on all the ports. So we have no, we don't have that mistake again. You got to go to each port. I'm going to turn each port on. There we go. Now, again, you got to give it a moment, and I'm going to hit fast forward here. You got to give it a moment to boot properly and connect with the switch and whatnot. Now, if I come back to my command prompt and I type in that ping, that same default gateway 192.168.1.1, it should hopefully work for us now. Again, it might take a moment the first time you find it. There it is. So if you can see that there, the first time it timed out, but the other three worked. I can show you now that it knows where it is. It kind of connects immediately. Okay. So I'm going to walk through the steps on the other one, on one more, just to make sure you can do it. So again, this PC here is for the sales department. If I go to configuration, the settings, default gateway is 192.168, and this is subnet 2, so it'd be .2.1. DNS server, if you recall over here, it's the same, 192.168 .4.254. And then locally here, it's the IP address for this particular machine, right? That's representing these hosts is 192.168.subnet2 here, 2.1. I'm sorry, 2.10. 2.10 is this PC right here. And then again, a Class C subnet. And then we come up to the router, which is this subnet's on port number 5. So I come to port 5 here. And the IP address is the default gateway, 192.168.subnet2.1 for the default gateway. And the same subnet mask, right? And again, the settings up here. Okay. So that looks good. Let's fast forward and let's see if we can ping that default gateway. Ping 192.168.2.1. And again, it might take, oh, no, didn't take any time at all. It's all right there. So now we got a connection from this PC to the router. And just for fun, while we're here, we're going to ping from this PC to this PC on the different subnet. So we're going to ping the subnet 1.10. And look at that. We've got connectivity. So you can fast forward the video here. I'm going to walk through the steps and doing it on the third subnet also. And then we'll do the router or the server. Okay. All right, let's do the same thing with subnet 3 here. I'm going to start with the PC. And again, this is for management, right? So we'll do config, fast Ethernet port, 192.168 subnet 3, and this will be host 10, right, which represents the 100 of different hosts that could be part of the subnet. Subnet mask is a Class C subnet mask. Under settings, the default gateway, 192.168.3 for subnet 3.1, right? And then again, the DHCP server, which is this over here, 192.168.subnet4.254. Okay. And then we'll go to the router, and we're on port 3 here, it looks like. So let's go to port 3. And the default gateway is 192.168. What did I say? 3, right? 3.1, and then the subnet again is a class 3 subnet for here. All right. So we got that set up. Let's hit fast forward here to make the connections, and let's see if we've got a link. So I'll go into the command prompt and we'll ping our default gateway 192.168.3.1, and then there you go. We've got connectivity on that one. Very good. And now let's finish it up over here with the DHCP server. I'm going to config our settings, and again our default gateway, I'll move it down here. This is going to be for subnet 4, right? So our default gateway is 192.168.4.1. DNS server is still the same DNS server here, right? 192.168.4.254. And then for the fast ether, or for the port, it is, this is the address, the same one that we've been using, 192.168.4.254. And again, the subnet mask will be class C. So let's ping. Let's make sure we can have connectivity. Command prompt here, ping the default gateway, 192.168.4.1, and it might take a second to find it. Looks like it's having trouble. Might have done something wrong. Okay, let's look and see what we did wrong here. Did we go here? We might not have gone here. Whoops. What would he say this is on? I didn't write this one down. So this is 453. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'd be 6. So I gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. 2, 1, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So it's on this one. This is 2. This is the one right here. And see, this is what happens, right? I had to go back and figure that out because I did not write up here 2/0, right? So now it's easy for me to remember what port it's on because I got the visual. All right, so let's go into port 2, and I got to add the default gateway address here, 192.168. What are we on? 4, right? Subnet 4.1. Oops. Let's try it again. 192.168.4.1. And subnet mask, again, class C for the default gateway. Now that we got that, again, let's speed it up. And let's try to ping now. Hopefully, we'll hit arrow up. And now we got that connectivity. There you go. And you might want to test just for fun. I'm going to ping from the DHCP server to R&D over here. So, oops, make that a little bigger. So we're going to ping 192.168 subnet 1.10. So that's to this host right here. So we have connectivity right now with all our static IP addresses. Now the next step is to convert it over to a DHCP. So here I am still in the server, and I'm going to go to services. So I'm still in this DHCP server, go to services, and I'm going to choose DHCP, make this a little bigger. Now we are going to create a pool of addresses for our first subnet. So the pool name is going to be R&D. So where it says pool name, we're going to make that R&D department. All right. Our default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Okay, right? Because this is the .1 subnet. DNS server is this over here, right? Our server. So that's 192.168.4.254, right? Move this out of the way again. You can see it. 4.254 for the DNS server. We are going to start our IP addressing, not with 0 because that's the network, not with 1 because that's the default gateway. You can start with 2 or 3 or 4. I'm just going to start it with 5 just to kind of keep things simple. And we're going to we only need 100 hosts. So I'm going to say up to 100 hosts here. And then we're going to click add. And when I click add here, now you can see below that the R&D department has a default gateway here, DNS server here. We're starting with the IP addressing here. We're going to do this for the other hosts in our network. So the next one is sales. So I'm going to come up here for R&D and I'm going to change that to sales department. And the default gateway, this is subnet 2. So I'm going to change the 1 to the 2. The DNS server will stay the same. Our starting IP address, we've got to change that from we're going to change that to 2, and we'll start with 5 again. Maximum number 100, and we're going to add, right? There you go. Let's see. Yes. I just noticed here the starting IP address I got to fix. So I'm going to go back to R&D. I'm going to click on R&D. Notice that came up. And the starting IP address, that's in subnet 1. So I got to change my starting IP address to 1 here. I'm glad I caught that. And instead of having add, I'm going to hit save. So now it updated. So now my starting IP address is correct. So keep an eye on that. Now let's move this out of the way here. Whoops. And we're going to do the management department down here. So I'll do management, M-A-N-G-T, department. The default gateway, we're on subnet 3. So I'm going to change this over to 3. And DNS server is the same address. Starting IP address, we're going to change this to subnet 3, right? On 5. Same subnet mask, same amount of host we need. I'm going to click add, right? Then we just got to do the last subnet here for the server. We'll call that DMZ. It's on subnet 4. Same DNS server is still the same address. Starting IP address will be 4. And we only need 50 hosts, but we'll leave it at 100. And then I'll click add. Okay. So now we have our pool for the R&D, sales, and management. And you can kind of go down and just double check yourself. These should all be the same, right? These should be the same except the host number here should be different, right? Subnet mask should all be the same, right? Now, once we have that done, I guess I'm gonna stop the video now so it's not too long. But we've now got everything set. The next step is to configure the router to allow the DHCP request to pass through and find the DHCP server. So we'll do that on the next video.